What's going on, my pretty pandas? It's your Huggable Hipster here. Happy Monday and welcome back to another gaming review. So in today's gaming review, we're gonna review a game that I'm highly passionate about, highly excited about, and have been playing since I was at the wee age of 10 years old. That game is Resident Evil. Let's dive into the beginning of survival horror with Resident Evil 1 Remake review. So when it comes to horror games, I try to stay unbiased and neutral. With the Resident Evil franchise, I can do that for the most part. Only game that I have a complete and utter bias for and will defend until my dying day is the remake of the very first game, Resident Evil Remake, which was released March 22nd, 2002. I know, eons ago. I was 9 years old at the time. So 9 years old, borderlining on 10 years old, because I remember getting this as a birthday present from my dad. I was brand new into the gaming scene, had never seen a jump scare before, had never witnessed something spoopy, had never seen the horrors of the zombies and the zombos and the zombies. I was fresh into the gaming scene, never witnessed a cutscene, never witnessed a jump scare, never witnessed something that would terrify my soul quite like this. I remember getting the game for the first time because my dad had given it to me as a birthday present alongside with the GameCube. Little did I know of the beast that would be unleashed. At the time of the remake's release, it was the epitome of horror in the gaming industry, and really the first of its kind to create a horrifying experience for the player, bringing them into a surreal world that made the monsters in our mind a reality. Now, the creation of Resident Evil paved way for all of the psychological horror games that we know and love today, including but not limited to Outlast, The Evil Within, etc., etc., etc. I'd like to argue that the games Sweet Home and Alone in the Dark were actually the first in psychological horror. Now, the game Sweet Home was created in 1989 and had 10 store opening scenes, a multitude of ways that you could end the game, notes you could find, and graphic content. The game was never released in America, like I've stated in other videos previous, because it was only in Japan at the time due to its graphic nature. Seriously, it was all pixelated. It was, I mean, you know, I don't know how else to put it. It was not graphic, how I would consider graphic, but in 1989, this must have been pretty revolutionary. Now, when playing Resident Evil again on my YouTube channel, and again on my YouTube channel, I mean again for me personally, but for the first time on my YouTube channel, I felt nostalgic and giddy over the entire game all over again. The game holds so many memories for me that it's just, no matter how many times I play it, it's always a joy to play. Now, since I played the game a multitude of times, both from Jill's and Chris's perspective, I felt like I was ready to tackle on the daunting task of putting Resident Evil out there for the ether and everyone else to see. Now, while yes, to some this is just a game, but for me it's an extension of who I am and part of my soul. Hear me out on this. When I released the first episode of my playthrough, I wasn't concerned with the views, but more concerned with the fact of doing the game justice. I wanted to read the notes, play the game, and bring the characters to life, and whether or not I accomplish that will be up to you, the viewer. As Resident Evil is a third-person RPG, you see it take on so many forms throughout its lifetime and throughout the 20-some years that it's been around in the industry. Now, in Resident Evil 7, though, we see the shift to first-person, and it's interesting because in Resident Evil 6, we can see that it's mostly multiplayer with options to be third-person at the same time. So Resident Evil and its team have done some incredibly awesome things, as well as some extremely risky things that would make me wonder if it was selling out or just experimenting. So I think now it's time to discuss the little things that make Resident Evil a cult classic. They don't make zombies like they used to. They just don't. I'm sorry. They're too fast, they're too cranky, they're too, concerned with how they look. I don't like it. The zombies in Resident Evil were thoroughly creepy and added to the atmosphere. You had run-of-the-mill, slow-walking zombies, and then you'd have the Crimson Heads, which are some of my favorites. And let's just face it, they are a cult classic within the zombie universe. You wouldn't have Resident Evil without having the Crimson Heads. And I find it so awesome that they coined it. Like, they coined the term for the Crimson Heads. Like, this did not appear in any other zombie game or anything before Resident Evil. There was a genetically modified shark called Neptune, there were hunters, Cerberuses, a plant that could kill you, a guy named Tyrant, little bugs and bees that were just annoying and a pain to deal with. There were just so many unique things and designs within the game that made it that much more special from a consumer standpoint. So in a nutshell, I think it's pretty safe to say what my opinion is on this game. Resident Evil paved the way for horror games that make our spines twitch with fear and cry with joy when completed. And through the years, there have been games that have come and gone, and whether it's because they didn't have what it took or because they lacked the ingenuity, one thing's for sure. This game will be remembered in the years to come for not just incorporating ingenious gameplay, but a story that pushed people's mental boundaries. Sitting in the main office of Umbrella Corporation is Mikami, sitting back and reveling in what he's created. So that was the review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell down below, because that lets me know that you care and you like my face and you like the things that I do on this channel. Stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will talk to you all in tomorrow's video. Peace.